Quick shout out to Unity for sponsoring this video, more about it in a moment, because today we are going back to the basics. Let's see how to create some cool gradients with shader graph. They are useful for 2D backgrounds like a sky, but many other things, for example to better understand the fundamentals of shaders. And I'm using this scene from Rabbit's Tale, which is a game we are developing here at Golden Bug. Links below for more, it would be awesome if you guys could check it out. Right, so let's jump right into this. But first, Unity is holding a big sale right now on the asset store, and you can get assets like Feel to improve your game's feel and make it extra juicy, the Rayfire plugin to demolish stuff in real time, or Amplify shaders to create awesome and complex materials, or even my Unique Projectiles Mega Pack where I combined all of my projectiles into one Mega Pack. Plus, if you spend over $100 and use this code, you can get an additional 10%. The sale starts on the 14th of November and ends on the 7th of December, so make sure you don't miss this opportunity. There's over 500 assets on sale. So as you can see, it's quite a useful shader to have when you want to create a sky for the background, or so many things that you can do with this. So let me unload Carrot's Village, the main scene from Rabbit's Tale, and go to this very basic scene and create a square. As you can see, we have a global volume that I'm going to turn off and a global light 2D because we are on the 2D render pipeline of the universal render pipeline. And with right click on a folder, we can go ahead and create a shader. Go to the universal render pipeline, drop down menu and select Sprite Lit Shader Graph. It's super important that you guys select Sprite Lit. And we can go ahead and create a material. We'll right click on the shader and assign it to the square. Let's double click this shader to open this up, and we have the graph inspector. Make sure it's Sprite Lit, but if you don't use the 2D render you can select Lit, by the way. And as you can see, we have the backboard where we can add properties. In our case, we want a color property. We could call it the color 01, and then we can create another color for color 02. And we are going to have a float for the color 01 influence and another float for the color 02 influence. Right, and every time you select one of these properties, the graph inspector will adapt to the property type, in this case to float or color. On a float we can say if it is a slider. In this case we want this to go from 0 to 1. And if you save it, as you can see, in the material of the square now we have a slider for the color influence 01, which doesn't do nothing at the moment. Let's do the same for color 02 influence. So it goes from 0 to 1 as well. And for the color, in this case I'm going to use a red color, increase the alpha, and the mode, it can be in HDR, so you can increase the intensity. It might be useful. And for the color 02, I'm gonna select a blue and also switch to HDR mode, just in case. Right, so what is going to happen is that we are going to multiply something with this color 01. And we are also going to multiply something with the color 02. As you can see, I have 4 inputs in this multiply, which represents the RGB and A, red, green, blue and alpha channels. I'm going to set them to 1 just so we can see something. And in the end we are going to add these two colors together, but as you can see they become pink. It is not a gradient, we are doing some basic math, some basic color theory where red and blue will become pink, basically. So how do we turn this into a gradient? Well, if you press spacebar, we have a lot of options. And if you go to input and in geometry, you have the UV node, which takes care of how things are mapped to the geometry. In this case it's a quad, the geometry is super simple. But in 3D objects the geometry is much more complex and the UVs are much more complex as well. And if you split this, as you can see, we also have 4 properties, which is the RGB and A. And there's a very useful node which is the preview node, and we can see what everything outputs. It's super useful to learn, guys. For example, the R channel goes from black to white and the green channel goes from black to white but in vertical. red horizontal, green vertical, and the blue one, it's completely dark because there isn't any blue right here. And in our case, we want a green channel because we want a vertical gradient. In case you want an horizontal gradient, you can use the R channel. Once again, if you press spacebar, there's plenty of nodes, but if you go to the math node, there is something called interpolation. How do we handle interpolations? In this case, we want a smooth step. And if you go to Unity documentation, you can read a little bit more about the node specifically. But as you can see, if you connect the G channel to the in value of the smooth step, the edge one will control the gradient from the bottom to the top. And all we gotta do now is connect the color 01 influence float. But as you may notice, it's called color influence. And if it is at 0, it's basically influencing the whole layout, the whole output. And if it's at 1, it doesn't influence anything. It should be the opposite. Fortunately, there's a node that takes care of that. A remap node, once again in the math drop down menu, in the range more specifically. And if you connect color 01 influence to the in value, we can remap the range. For example, the value that comes in at 0, it goes from 0 to 1. We can say instead that it will be the opposite. It will output 1 and 0 instead of 0 to 1. We are remapping those values, and as you can see now, it makes much more sense for the color 01 influence to go from 0 to 1, and 1 is full influence. And if you connect this smooth step to the multiply, it influences the color 01, and we are starting to have a gradient. Let's repeat this for the color 02. We are going to need a smooth step. You can press Ctrl C and Ctrl V, but in this case we want the opposite, right? And it's actually very simple. All we gotta do is say that the edge 2 is 0. But in this case we want color 02 influence float. Let's connect to the edge. And if we start increasing it, it actually makes sense. 1, it influences the whole output, and 0, it doesn't influence anything. But there is a little glitch. If we set it to 0, it becomes fully white. So once again, let's use the remap node and say that the zeros that come in are going to be 0.001, for example. We are making sure that the 0 starts at 0001. And if we save this and go back to square, everything is black because we don't have any influence. Once we start increasing the color 01 influence, it comes from the top, and the color 02 influence, it comes from the bottom. And in the middle they create a gradient. Alright, that is bad, it's the start of something. For many of you it may work just as it is. But if we want the purple to influence even more, or the orange, well, in the color 01 influence, let's set it to 1, and we are going to say that the maximum value, which is the Y of the out, is going to be -1. And for the color 02, we are going to say the maximum of the output is going to be double, which is 2. And the range now becomes much bigger, and we have basically doubled the range. And save it, and here we go. Now they influence much more the square, the area of the square, as you can see. And you can create some very different gradients, as you can see, from basic to complex. You can even go further and add a third color. What if we want to change the color in the middle? Currently it's completely black because, well, color 01 and color 02 aren't influencing enough. Which means that if we pick the smooth steps and add them together, we almost have what we want. It would be great if we could invert this result, right? And there is a node that does it. Once again, it's inside the math drop-down menu, and it's the 1-. And now the remaining range from the 01 and 02 color influence can be influenced by a third color. Let's create color 03 and say, for example, that is orange in HDR mode as well. And all we gotta do is multiply this. And if you want this to be stronger, you can multiply the 1-, or you can select the color 03 and increase the intensity since it is in HDR mode. And now all we gotta do is add this third color to the mix and replace the connection to the base color. And here we go, look at this. Now you have the possibility of creating very complex gradients. And if you don't want this color 03 to influence anything, you can set it to black and you are good to go. You have a cool gradient. So there you go, now you know how to create gradients. Plus, I hope you have learned a few things new about shader graph. I try to be a little bit more beginner friendly, but if you want something a little bit more advanced, then check out my channel. There's plenty of tutorials and you can get them all on my Patreon page or on Unity Asset Store. I want to say a big thank you to each patron that supported me last month, and a quick shout out goes to the top tier patrons, which are 3D Sorcery, Alexandre Carvalho, Alper Arichai, Analog Up Studios, Aquiles Benitez, Aviat Tobali, Kainarino, Silona, Rubidubidu, Crazy Studio, Daniel Schmidt, Diego Marques, Duitron, Effect Yellow, El Sharif, Gilles Walter, Goblin Plague, Guilherme Trindade, GMP, KC Miller, Kenan Ansel, Lucky Campbell, Lee Ann Holt, Mark Anum, Mateus Bragança, Michael Gann, Michael Lade, Minazuki, Mior Mouth, Mortar, Naru, Nat Sims, NJY, Oitsk, Original Game, Chief, Pradip Sen, Quentin Journeau, Radioactive Bullfrog, Revenant Games, Trump, Verisuta, Will Hughes, Will Polion, Champion Ling, and Ingo Das. Your support is very much appreciated, guys. You keep these videos coming. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.